All right, Harper folks, we are so excited to be with some actual Harper students today, real life students, which is amazing. And so I'm going to kick it over to my sidekick, Erin.
Thanks, Beth. We are, so excited. We have the Business and Entrepreneurship Club with us today. So thank you all for joining us. And they're going to talk about a really important topic, a challenge that they participated in recently. So we're excited to hear more.
So to kick us off first, because I actually just learned about this club and got to know these students. So Saban, can you talk a little bit about what this club is and maybe some of the things that you all are involved with as a club?
Yeah. So this club, if I had to describe it with one word, it is opportunity to do anything and everything you want to do in your college career. It is such a good way to grow in your community college life and hone the skills you need to succeed in any different type of environment you come across in your life. Your entrepreneurial skills, your leadership skills, logistical skills, cross-cultural communication, and you don't just get involved with the local community. We're working on a global scale, like with countries like Iraq, the UAE, Pakistan, Jordan. And I joined this club in my second semester at Harper, and despite being online for that semester, I felt more involved because of this club than I did originally in my first semester. And what do we do? Anything and everything. There's so many different types of projects we're working on. We're working on like getting 3D printed prosthetics from our makerspace at Harper to children all across the world in Pakistan, in India, in Iraq. And we're working with universities in those regions on making business plans that promote women empowerment in those regions, that promote sustainability. There's a lot of things we're doing. But yeah, opportunity, that's what it is.
Awesome. No, I think that's amazing. Not only are you making connections with Harper students, but also making connections for your future career endeavors and kind of gaining those skills, which is so important. And I think something, especially during the pandemic, I know it can be difficult, is making connections and finding maybe the right club or organization to be involved in. And so I'm just curious if a few of you could kick us off and tell us a little bit about how you found this club. And so maybe James, if you want to kind of talk a little bit about your journey first.
I'd love to. So going into my year at Harper, I actually started when the pandemic started, which was kind of a slap in the face in terms of the beautiful campus that we have and all of the opportunities that I was ready to embark on. But it was okay. You know, I figured that there have to be some kind of clubs that are going to be running online. And so I actually went on the Harper website. They do a phenomenal job of listing all of the clubs. And I was like, well, what am I interested in? I love business. I've kind of been doing that. And I love making videos. So if I could make videos for business, let's do that. And it was as simple as reaching out to Marie. Her information was just right below the little business and entrepreneurship heading. And immediately she's like, yeah, come on to one of our meetings. We're having this meeting then. You're welcome. Let's go. And, it didn't take any kind of application or anything. I didn't have to, bite my nails if I'm going to get in or not. And I've met some like lifelong friends from just that simple, let's see if I can, join a club.
That's awesome. And I think what you said there is just kind of being vulnerable, right? You chose a couple of different, maybe you attended one, you're like, this is it for me, but not stopping there and really honing your interest and giving it a shot, which I think is so important. And Isra, can you tell us a little bit about your journey here?
Yeah, all right. So I actually joined before the pandemic started, and I joined in fall 2019, I believe. And back then, the previous vice president was named Isra as well, which is really rare, given that I've never met another Isra, let alone my own name. I've never really heard of it before. So that's what really pulled me in, along with the fact that Marie was actually one of my professors for Intro to Business Organization. And she said that we have a few projects coming up. If anybody would be interested, we are hosting a meeting at this time on this day. And I went and I immediately fell in love with everybody there. And Marie as well. She's such an awesome leader. And I feel like I really got all the opportunities I needed to succeed, not just academically, but in real life as well. And I really do recommend this for everybody who's willing to go out and venture beyond business, literally, and just socializing. It's an awesome, awesome club.
I just want to add something to that. Despite me and Isra living a few miles from each other our whole lives in Dubai, we met at Harper.
Which is amazing. Like, you know, you like, what are the odds? So I think that is so cool. And Angeline, can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
I guess my experiences is pretty much similar to James. Fresh off of high school, I honestly did not have any previous business experience, and I did not even know I was interested in business until like near my graduation of my senior year. So, but I knew that attending Harper that I wanted to be involved as much as possible. And as James said, I was highly disappointed that I was not able to attend Harper on campus and in person. Also, like James, I went through the website, basically made a list for myself to say, which clubs I want to join, which clubs I'd love to be involved in. And similar to how James explained, I basically reached out to Miss Lapidus, and it's basically as simple as how James already explained. She gave me the meeting code, and I'm so happy I'm in this. I've learned so much from being here, and I could not have been happier to have made that decision.
Thank you for sharing. And I think just based off of your responses that you don't have to be interested in business to join the club, or you don't have to have a major in business. So I think that's really important. Erin, take it away.
Yeah, I just think that you guys serve as such a great model for other students to understand how to go about getting involved, kind of creating a path for yourself and determining what you're interested in and pursuing that. And that even though, yeah, it kind of stinks that we're not all together on campus, you can still make the best of your experience at Harper by being involved, getting to know other people through some of our clubs and organizations like yours. And so I want to hear a little bit more about what you guys did last semester. You guys participated in the Global Solutions Sustainability Challenge. I want to know, can you share more about that challenge? What did it entail?
And Angeline, if you want to hit us off and give us an update there.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's see. The Global Solutions Challenge was, as Ms. Graff already pointed out, it was a challenge about sustainability. Each year, since I believe they hold it annually, we are given a prompt that we have to develop a sustainable product or idea that is with regards to the topic. So this year's topic was on, I believe it was arts and media. And through this process, which is about 6 to 10 weeks, depending on which one you chose, we partner with our other team in one of the countries. Our team was, I believe, in Iraq. And what we do is that we collaborate together on an idea that we all agree on. And during that time, we follow through with the process of getting through our idea, making sure that everything is step-by-step correct. And at the end of those weeks, we then submit it, and then hopefully we have succeeded in our mission. Sorry.
Perfect. And I think this challenge, as you were describing it, sounds awesome, right? But I think more importantly, especially during the pandemic, right, we've been physically distancing. And so I think it's great to hear that this group has managed to stay connected, even with people halfway across the world, right? So with that in mind, can some of you tell us a little bit about what you learned from participating in this challenge, and B, would you recommend this challenge to someone else and why? And so maybe Saban, if you can kick us off first.
That's a very hard question with a lot of different answers. Personally, as an engineering major who stuck to his books all the time, not doing much outside of studying, it was an eye-opening experience because it is the first time for me that I got to lead something this big, to work with people across the world, and to figure out solutions to a real problem, like women empowerment in the Middle East. How to do that sustainably. And one of the weirdest problems we ran into was naming our website. Because in Arabic, the pronunciations and the letters you use are so different, and there's so many domains that are similar that are taken. But anyway, it's awesome. There's so many different things I learned that it's hard to put into words.
Which I think, speaks for itself, right? And so I think if you don't even have words to express how amazing this was, I think that sells me on your project. James, did you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of also embark on a lot of challenges too. Some challenges like that you wouldn't have known if it wasn't for this challenge. So with our team in Iraq, actually, one of the challenges we had, and this was like the last day we were preparing this video presentation, and one of our presenters had to take all of his electronics in his house and basically like make a self-set-up lighting fixture because the region in Iraq where he's from has normal power outages. They just don't have power. And so the guy still was able to do it for us. So there was this, it's really beautiful. Like when you kind of have this sense of like a project that you're working on together, the extent that people will go to make this project come to life is truly extraordinary. And it also fosters some incredible relationships. Like I still talk to my buddy that I worked, or my partner now, my good friend that I worked with on the video, had to, back to just communicating all the time. We still talk as friends now, and so it's phenomenal.
Awesome. And it's like building relationships, not just with your Harper students, but it sounds like you all have built relationships with folks you might not even, ever see maybe in person, which is really cool.
I think Roman deserves a shout out for what he did that night. So I'm just going to play a video of him recording at 3 a.m. with no electricity in Iraq.
Wow. It also gives you a perspective, right? Like of where you are at in the world and, maybe some challenges that you don't even have to necessarily deal with all the time, but others might have to face those challenges. So thank you for sharing.
Okay, well, I loved that you guys, shared and started to point out some of those similarities and differences that you've experienced in working with other students from Iraq. And so can you expand upon that a little bit more? What were some of the similarities that you experienced and what were those differences in working with other students from around the world?
And then if we want to go ahead, Nick, if you want to kick us off first.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say, it was a very eye-opening experience all around. I'd say some people were probably a little unsure of like if there was going to be like a language barrier or like if there was going to be any difficulty like communicating and getting it all, worked out. But I'd say, there wasn't really that many differences. I'd say we were all very much on the same page. The entire time we all communicated via WhatsApp. And if there was any issues that occurred, they had no issue reaching out to us. We'd reach out to them. And I'd say it flowed very smoothly. It was a very good experience all around, I'd say.
Isra, anything to add to that?
I think that in regards to the actual project itself, one of the biggest similarities that struck us all was the fact that we all had the common goal of wanting to make a change, specifically working on a project that was sustainable. So we all had the issue of feminism going on in our heads. We all had the issue of gender inequality, basically, going on in our heads. And that was a common topic. And it was really interesting to see that while it is a big issue in the States alone, it is also a big issue on the worldwide scale. So that's something that we focus our project around. And it was really interesting to see that not only are we so different, but we're also so alike. And regardless of the language barriers and all of that, it was just so interesting to see how we all come together as one at the end of the day.
And maybe in a few short words, Isra, can you maybe say why it might be important for students at Harper to participate in a global community project, maybe similar or different to this one that you all participated in?
I think that it definitely expands your horizons. It definitely makes you view the world differently. We're so we usually associate people with stereotypes, and that's usually not the case at all. And so when you open your eyes up to new experiences, new opportunities, you meet new people who are just like you. And at the end of the day, it makes you realize that we are all the same, no different. And we all share the common goal of wanting to do good and be good for the world. And I think it's just an amazing opportunity to just go ahead, meet new people, and just experience new things.
Angeline, anything that you want to say to that as well?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to add that our teammates at Iraq, at least for me personally, it was definitely an eye-opening experience. Never had I been in a situation where there was necessarily such a diverse group of people, but not necessarily people, but in terms of ideas. As personally, I'd never been exposed to the ideas and then the wealth of information and experiences that our team in Iraq brought to the table. And so, if I may, honestly, the first few weeks were a little bit rough, as one of the hardest things we tried to get on point was, I believe it was an idea to go along with the global solutions. It was definitely difficult because, again, since everyone came from such a wide variety of backgrounds and experiences, we couldn't necessarily focus on one idea. And when especially the Iraq team pointed out about certain situations in Iraq that with regards to women, then I believe that's when it all clicked. And again, as Isra explained, to see all of that come to fruition and understanding the process and see that slowly building up throughout the weeks, it really was like an experience that I cannot necessarily put into words. It's impeccable, it's amazing, and it's so much diversity. Sorry,
No, and I think I've been inspired by all of you, just hearing your stories and the impact that it has had, not just in the present, but also kind of thinking about your future careers, transferring beyond Harper or, getting a job one day. So I think it's been so helpful to hear the impact that it's had on you and your time at Harper. So Erin, if you want to send us home.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think it's kind of beautiful what you had said in terms of, that this experience, though it might be challenging at times to work with individuals from different backgrounds and everyone having different ideas coming to the table, it makes a stronger product in the end, knowing that you're making a difference, that truly a number of different individuals can come together and focus in on a product that is about sustainability and supporting women's rights. Is just such a beautiful thing, and we're so proud of the work that you've done. We want to thank you not only for your participation in that product, but for your time today. And we want to let our students know who are interested that the Business and Entrepreneurship Club is one of our wonderful clubs that students can join, so you don't have to wait. You can be a part of this amazing club, and how you can do that is either by visiting the student involvement website or emailing the advisor, Marie Farber-Lapidus, to receive additional information about getting involved.
And I learned from Saban, they call it BAE, is that correct?
Yes, we do.
So if you have a hard time pronouncing it like I do, they even have an acronym. So thank you all for your time, and that is this week's Hawk Talk.